All right. What's up, everyone? It's Wednesday. That means more live streaming. And apparently, it also means that I am tired because I've been running today. I just realized that as I was sitting here waiting to get started, I went for a run the last 4 times I've live streamed. And it always results in me sitting here being a little bit tired. I don't know why I do that. I hope you guys are doing all right. Because I believe it is time. It is time to get some writing done. As you can see, I have changed the progress to 95, the progress goal to 95,000. And I did a little bit of writing yesterday just to finish chapter 16 so that we could get started on chapter 17. And yeah, that's where we'll go today. So let's have a little read, shall we? So what did happen last time? Not last night. Well, Vespa used her spirit magic up here to push on Rhenàidd's spirit, which resulted in him standing all stunned and didn't really knowing what was going on, what to do. And then she of course ran away with Lemon in one hand and the poison vial in the other. So let's just start from here, shall we? You're right, brave friend. Vespa of the Vigorous Oath looked back over her shoulder, so she's narrating again here. To find the evil villain still swaying, mindlessly staring into the wall, Vespa narrated through sniffles. She didn't continue, but instead quickly located the purple poison vial between Squire Rhenàidd's stumbling feet, rushing in between them to pick it up before sprinting the best she could out of the cell. Weird. So that needs to be some cleanup here. Let me just, there we go. As Squire Rhenàidd slowly began to move his arms again, running through the corridor until with the torchlight of the deep dungeons at her back, Vespa tried to form any kind of plan. Except she found it difficult to think with her body aching in so many different ways. Lemon made a soft whistle of complaint, being held against Vespa's body as she ran. "I'm sorry, Lemon," she apologized, but continued. "Hold on just a little longer. I'll find someone to make it all better, I promise." Vespa sped up. She was more hoping than anything that she could find someone to help. Why was her sister always gone when Vespa needed her? Help. And why wasn't the fire back yet? It's also a bit weird that why wasn't her sister gone? It's a bit weird to name her twice. Why wasn't the fire back yet when... Didn't she say... I can't read. Wow. Didn't she say that she would be back before the Ascension ceremony? Where was she? Vespa stopped and sniffled as she reached the room with the stairs back up to the dungeon on her left and the toppled wall leading down to the catacombs on her right. She stood, considering her options, shaking her head to clear her mind, well knowing that time was not her ally. Maybe Rhenàidd could help. If he could teach her to use his. If you teach... No, not his. Not his twice. Teach her to use his nature magic Nature to heal. Nature flow. Let's go with flow. Nature flow. To heal Lemon's wounds. They could do it right away. But it had been so long since the Warhammer's spirit had taught her last. And besides, she didn't have a branch with her. Her best bet was probably to hurry up the stairs and find Chapter Peter. The other paladins would probably, there's a lot of probablys there. Probably. Would probably already be busy with the prayer before the ceremony. She just had to find some way to get past the dungeon guards and then into the temple. But it was probably... I never said what I write when I'm on my own it's any good. It's not probably the safest plan. She just had to run as fast as she could. Hey, Isiloran. Hope I pronounced that right. Welcome to the stream and welcome to the chat. I don't think I've seen you here before. Good to have you. Run-on sentences in a first draft is just par for the course. It is, isn't it? It's beautiful. It's beautifully bad sometimes. But as she was about to take her first step towards the stone stairs, a hand gripped his shoulder and held her in place. I don't know what you did back there. Squire Ronin looked as if he hadn't slept for days. But he had still caught up to her and lifted Vespa up before she could do anything. And you're lucky that you've managed to make me so late, so I won't be killing you right away. Unlucky for you. Once I get back with powers greater than you can ever imagine, you would have wished that I had ended your pathetic doll's life swiftly and mercifully. Squire Ronin carried Vespa, squirming the best she could, still with Lemon so close to her chest, over towards the catacombs. Should probably say that she dropped the poison, actually. Let's just go it right here. Not very elegant, but it is what it is. Vial. She dropped the vial. Okay, so chapter 17 is where we're at. Let's go and see in our chapter overview sheet. It is the road back in Hero's Journey. Well, you could probably also see that on this here thingy, my little UI. So the main plot is as following: that Ronin throws the rope down into the catacombs after them. Vespa is desperate. It's total darkness again in the catacombs, and Lemon is lethargic in her arms. On top of that, she knows that Ronin is about to kill Grand Protector Baldric and maybe even all the other paladins. She calls out for Rhenàidd. Calls out for Rhenàidd for help in saving. Call her 2. Rhenàidd 4. There we go. Rhenàidd to help saving Lemon. Rhenàidd asked her if she somehow brought another branch, otherwise there's nothing they can do. A devastated and crying Vespa holds Lemon tight as he slowly dies. She can feel the blood from his wound, or maybe it's just her own. She doesn't care. Vespa feels Lemon's flow of life draining until it's all gone, and he doesn't breathe anymore. Unable to contain her feelings of sadness and feeling of being unable to control what's happening, Vespa accidentally taps into her own life force to try and get Lemon back to life. Rhenàidd, sensing what is happening, tries his best to calm Vespa down, stop her, but to no avail. Vespa falls lifeless to the black stone floor, laying beside a dead Lemon. I know. Quite the high tension in this chapter is going to be. I think it's going to go rather quickly. We'll see. Isiloran says, "I am new. Find you through your most recent short, like the video where you follow along Sanderson's course. I was familiar with the course from earlier. It'll be interesting to follow along the course with your videos." Honestly, that is amazing. I love that. Thank you so much for well, thinking that my video was worth a watch and even a subscribe. And I imagine if you've taken the course before, you will get sort of a repetition of it as well. So I just want to say that the next video is not going to be out Saturday. It's going to be out in 2 weeks time. So I'm gonna have like every second week it's going to be a new Brandon Sanderson video, at least for the foreseeable future. Just, you know, just to have a little bit of a expectation set. I hope that's okay. Right, we got a lot to go through, a lot of feelings, a lot of sadness, and better get started. By the way, are you an author as well, Isa Lauren? And if so, what do you write? I mean, you probably are, since you took the Brandon Sanderson course. It'd be interesting, strange otherwise. Vespa fell to the stone floor. With a rather loud bump. The rather loud bump. Squire Rhenàidd screaming. Screaming down into the catacombs. The catacombs. As he threw. As he threw the rope. Yes, let's start this chapter with an enormously long sentence. That's the way to go. Vespa always used to get back up. To get back up. Down with them. With them. So Lauren says, I'm actually not a writer myself, but I like the whole thing. I'm curious about the hobby activity. I enjoy to see what people are making, like world building or other aspects of writing. I guess I'm in the dreamer stage of being a writer. that's quite, I like that. I love that actually. I found this guy making maps, fantasy maps, world building fantasy maps on YouTube. And like, okay, I have an interest in that because I know I need to do maps at some point soon-ish. But I just suddenly had watched all of his YouTube videos of him making maps that I had no interest in. It was just fascinating the way he did things. So I can totally relate to that, and I hope you enjoy your stay. Maybe I hope you get inspired and, you know, maybe move a step further from the dreamer stage. So what would he yell? I think he would definitely laugh. Have fun. He's real nasty. He's real mean. Have fun with your dead. Have fun with your dead bird until I get back. His laugh faded. As he walked away. And up the stairs. Towards the dungeons. Vespa didn't hear it though. But Vespa took almost no notice of him. Almost no notice of him. Nor did she acknowledge the pain in her butt. In the lower half of her body from the fall of her body from the fall. So you see, Lauren says your videos have sparked a lot of inspiration actually. It's different to follow someone who is also new and willing to share. It feels like it's easier to take the plunge. Oh, I'm so happy about that. Oh, that's so cool. Damn, thanks. That's probably one of the best compliments like you could have given. Yeah, that was actually also the intention. Well, both to get myself to do stuff, but also the whole sharing thing, just to show that you don't start being perfect, right? But learning is part of things. That's awesome. Lemon in her arms were all that mattered. Rhenàidd Rhenàidd, are you there? Oops. She didn't. Despite the catacombs being complete darkness, complete darkness. Despite the catacombs being complete darkness. Despite there being complete darkness, what? Did she move? Why would she move? It took her. Took her some time to notice. Vespa. The familiar voice from everywhere and nowhere at once. Everywhere. No. Everywhere and nowhere at once said. Replied. Of course. I am. Of course I am. Where else would I be? be juggled. Juggle slightly. Not sensing. The panic. In Vespa's voice. That's supposed to be a U. That's a panic in Vespa's voice. It's so good to see you. Even though he can't see, he's a spirit trapped in a warhammer. It's so good to see you. I was starting to think you had forgotten about me. Starting to think that you had forgotten. Oh yeah, I saw a video today of someone else doing cursive, and well, I'm not writing R's correctly. They're not supposed to be like that. They're supposed to go like... So this is the way I use them, right? I don't know why I do like that, but whatever. So they're supposed to go like up and then down there. That's supposed to be an R or something like that. I don't know. It's weird, but that's the official way of doing it. You live and you learn, right? When's that? That was like 28:00. R in cursive. Wow. Yep, beautiful. Let's not talk about that. It's just a note. A practical question, as Easy Lauren, is the fountain pen easy to maintain, easy to refill? Do we have a collection of broken pens along with your collection of filled notebooks? It's a very good question, actually. So I bought this. This is a cheap Lamy pen. I think it's like $15-20, something like that. It was 200 Danish kroners. And I've had no problem whatsoever with it. It definitely doesn't break. It's very sturdy, actually. And the way this one is used is that you have these ink cartridges that you sort of, that they're like one-time use, and then you sort of plug them in and use that. I know you can get a refill container, like a converter thing that I need to get because there's no really. I think it's cool to have these used. This is all the ink pens I have used so far for my first book here. It's really nice to have them physical, but I do think it's a little bit wasteful to have this much plastic. So I am looking to get a converter once I finish this first draft, which is basically just like a little ink cartridge, from what I've seen, that's in there permanently, and then you sort of refill it by putting it into an ink, whatever container, and then you sort of suck it up. But yeah, I've had no problems with them. I've only used an inkwell. Yes, thank you. Exactly. I've only ever used this one. It's cheap, and I have had it since 2021, 22, 21, I think. No problems with it. I've only ever used black ink. I've heard that if you switch ink color, there's going to be like a weird mix between them for the first couple of sessions or a little time. I don't know. I haven't tried it. But I can only recommend it. It feels so good to write with one of these. And you can get them rather cheaply as well. Get a cheap one to start with. Find out if it's for you, and then just go. I absolutely love the physicality of having a physical book and the ink pen. I love it so much that I actually made a video on it. I'm quite happy about. That's an M. Everyone can see that. The spirit didn't get to finish before Vespa pleaded his help. While scurrying to his tomb in the darkness, a darkness which seemed to enhance the howling wind above, her. And the sound of the howling wind, the sound of the above her, and the sound of the howling wind above her. And whatever stream below the cold stone floors. Yo, we're close to the end of page 232. Nice. please. I need your help. Lemon. Vespa could feel. Vespa could feel. More tears. Tears pressing. I think that's the right word. Oh, I just realized I forgot to renew my dictionary subscription. Google Translate it is. Word. Lauren, on the topic of writing cursive, there is also shorthand or stenography, in contrast to longhand. +1 to the counter. Have you looked into that? It will make the live streams less approachable, though. So I found through, well, just trying stuff out. I make my first draft. I write my first draft longhand, using my pen and notebook. But then when I go into revisions and edits, digitizing, I have a cheap laptop that I use for that, which I also stream as well. So it's always just for the first drafts of the short stories, of this novel, of my 1-minute stories, that I use longhand writing. But I found that it worked really well for me, because when I digitize them, I don't just reread. Like, I'm already doing the second revision and I'm doing it with a new set of eyes, almost, because I don't just reread, if that makes sense. Because I have to retype everything into the PC, into a Google Doc. So I get a totally new set of eyes, and very different from writing, from typing first and then going back. Yeah. Did that answer your questions? I do both for the live stream, basically. So once the first draft is done, I will go to. I will move to my laptop for the foreseeable live streams. It's a little less intriguing, enticing. There is something. I feel like there's something really interesting watching, without giving myself too many compliments, but just, it's different. You don't see a lot of people working longhand, I feel like. She fought them. The best she could. Oh, I was more curious about if you have tried shorthand at all. So I need to just make sure that shorthand is what I think it is. Shorthand is typing, right? Shut up, AI. Oh no, this is very different. Oh. Wow, okay. I have not tried shorthand at all. All right, now, okay, yeah. I read about what it was. increases speed and brevity of writing as compared to longhand, the more common method of writing language. Huh. Well, no, I haven't. And for that, I will say I probably won't, because that looks like an entirely new language. If we go here. Wow, that's like... I'm sure there are some system to it, but it looks like a new script language or something. It's basically phonetic writing. Interesting. So it's like, it is actually a little bit like East Asian script seal languages, seals? Yeah, seals. Which are phonetic as well. It's kind of cool. It could be funny to have a... Off topic, it could be funny to have a language in a fantasy world that was written like that, so that, you know, people who actually knew stenography or shorthand, they would be able to read this. But no, I think I'll stick to longhand. I do it like you say. It is doing shorthand would be way less approachable, and also I would need to actually be able to read my own stuff. She fought the best she could. He needs your help. He's bleeding. And I don't know how long he Ow. Maybe just OW. 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 One of the other tombs. One of the other tombs were apparently in the way. Apparently in her way. Something her foot. Her foot now adding to her pain. Foot now adding to the pains. Hey, it's Miri! Welcome to the stream, Miri. How are you? How are thee? Oh, well, very, very, very fantasy-like of you. Thank you, thank you. I don't know how to respond in a medieval-like fashion. I'm good, thank you. How are you doing? Easy Lauren said Astrid Lindgren wrote her drafts in shorthand. Did she now? I am a huge Astrid Lindgren fan. Brothers Lionheart is one of my favorite books of all time. And I only recently read it. Being Danish, I of course grew up with it, but it was mostly the movie. Yeah. But that's cool. It's good to know that she wrote by hand. Well, of course she wrote by hand. She wrote her books in like the 60s. I have a declared goal that my magnum opus will be a children's book akin to Brothers Lionheart at some point in my life. Oh, you're from Sweden? Yeah, of course you grew up with them then. But mark my words, my magnum opus will be a children's book akin to Brothers Lionheart. I just need to well, first I need to grow my skill in writing, and then I need to have a good story. I do actually have some ideas for it, but I'm keeping that close. She was wonderful. I loved all of his stories. What is the matter? Rhenàidd answered. Rhenàidd answered. Having now sensed the urgency. Urgency, that's a Y, everyone can see that. That's supposed to be a now. I think he's Vespa had changed the course, had changed her course. To what she... Hey, that was page 232. Let's go 233. New page hype. Whoop whoop. Miri says, well, I finished these still graphs of my dwelling for thy provider. Now I must sit and submerge myself into my writing. Wow. Well, good thing that you finished these still graphs of thy dwelling. That sounds important. Change the course to what she... To what direction she thought. To what... Yeah. Direction. She thought. The spirit and his warhammer home. That sounds weird. Weird exclamation mark. Warhammer home was. Yes, the graphs are to be done today. Good thing you have them finished then. What do you say graphs? Is that like all the little, not little, but where you have to go through your new place and document all of the the state you moved into the place in? Yeah, new page type. Practical question, Easy Lauren says, the tags you use, what do you keep track of? Okay, I need to take photos of everything, yes. Okay, good. When you say tags, Easy Lauren, which tags are those? Is that the up here, it says resurrection, and it says return with the elixir and all that. Sticky notes. I'm confused. Start and end of the stream. Oh! Right. In my notebook. So these. Yeah. This is simply... This here is simply the chapters, where they start. So they were easy to find. This here, as Miri pointed out, this one is where I ended last time, because the way I count words, I have an average that I have. Like I know on average how many words I have per line and per page. So I use this marker. We'll do it at the end of the stream, but I'll use this marker to count each of the lines. And then we put it into this sheet here and see the progress. I also had... This is the two first notebooks of this same book. Of course, have the chapter overview there. And then I have all of these, because I did this... I took part in what's called the NaNoWriMo challenge, or November challenge, which was write 50,000 words in 30 days. And so each of these notes where I should be at the end of the day. So day one was here on page 5. Day 2 was here on page 10. So I sit and calculated how far I needed to. I absolutely needed to go for them. And then, like the halfway point was here, page 69, at day 15. So there's a lot of sticky notes. 50,000 words. We hit that 4 days before we were supposed to. Did I just hit this camera? on page 138. Up there. 50,000. So yeah. It looks much cleaner though when it's when it's just the chapters and then this little guy here to see where we how far we are. But yeah, that's how it's mostly this one that I'm using right now. This one to keep track of how much I write every day. Of course, so that the UI may be updated. So there's multiple different. These are just so it's easy to find the chapters here. She thought the Warhammer was. Squire Ronin. Hit him with a knife. Hit him with a knife and that's not the Q we're supposed to be doing. Squire. I think that's right. Squire Ronin. The confusion. The confusion was. What was the confusion? The confusion was thick. Let's not go with that. Confusion was clearly present. That sounds strange as well. Let's go with that. Whatever, we'll fix it in post. It's clearly present. Phrase. Confusion was clearly present. In Rhenàidd's voice, Rhenàidd. Voice. Why would he? Why would he ever? Okay, it looks like I just that new way, that the correct way of writing the R's, it looks like I just abandoned that. Why would he ever... And then stop here. Vespa interrupted him again. There's no time. There's no time. She yelled frantically. Isolorn says, I see, I was curious if there were some notes that kept track of important, interesting, non-fleshed out, particularly good writing that you want to pay extra attention to later. So writing process notes instead of writing progress notes. Yeah, the writing process notes, well, I probably should have, now that you mention it, I probably should have some sort of system in place for that. That's true. Right now, I just do the this pencil commenting thing. Also because I figured I'm going to be retyping everything anyway. Especially because I want to see if my average word count actually, this one actually correlates with the actual, yes, with the actual word count of what I have written. But I do actually, after making the first video of Brandon Sanderson's writing lesson, I started this, which is the revision list of things that I know I need to change or add or maybe remove. And then when I think of something, I started adding to it. So right now, for example, I know I need to rewrite the entire chapter 12 because that was a doozy. 40, 50 pages of just me going in circles. I had to introduce 2 guards earlier because they sort of, Vespa, the main character, really hated them when I introduced them a couple of live streams ago, and there had been no mention of them at all before that. So they need to be introduced. And then as the story has progressed, I got this idea of, making Vespa representative. Vespa is in my world what is called Fey folk. So they are the hobbits, they are the gnomes of my universe. She doesn't know that though. She's grown up at this knightly paladin order that are humans, amongst humans. So she thinks that there's just something wrong with her because she's like 60 centimeters tall. It's like barely the size of a chair seat. She's a 12-year-old girl. And she hates that. She hates like that she's so tiny. So that needs to be integrated throughout the entire book. That's suddenly, funnily enough, also something that is here in the end. That's something that she makes use of, good use of. So I have actually started that, the writing progress notes, and I can do this once I get to it. That's it's a little ways down the road. I think he's bleeding a lot. And I'm scared he's going to die. Die. Dot dot dot. A tear streamed down her cheek. As Vespa hugged Lemon closer. As Vespa hugged Lemon closer. It was the first time. I think it was the first time. She said, "Don't die." Earlier. He was left limply. Okay, here she didn't actually say it. It was the first time she... do we have another word for acknowledge? Acknowledge. What? She admitted, accepted? No. That she said that word. Let's go with that. That word. Actually, let's cursive that one. Yep, much better. Everyone can see that says that. Rhenàidd spent no time hesitating. see. We must do what we can to save him. Maybe he should actually say her, because it is a her, and Vespa is not gonna notice that. Feeling reassured. That's an R. That everything was going to be okay. That help was near. Vespa couldn't help but smile. Maybe a smile found its way onto Vespa's face. I found another YouTuber today. And she's an editor, the Plottery. Big recommendation for this. She seems great. I haven't actually watched her any videos yet, but I did start watching this one, Editor Fixes Common Prose Mistakes. And then I had other things to do, so I actually had to pull myself away. Because it was so exciting. But the first prose mistake that she talks about is he or she did this, then she did that. So just like it, something that gets really stale really fast, and you can sort of mix it up and have some variants. And that advice, like I said, I didn't even watch the entire video, but that one advice just, it's stuck in my head now. Big shout out to the Plottery, who I am going to be watching a lot of her videos. But like, so this one is an example. Vespa interrupted. She yelled. It's the same thing. She hugged. Vespa hugged him. Like, it's not inherently bad that they're there, right? But could it be written otherwise? For example, this one up here, I thought of it. I know I was about to write Rhenàidd's voice was confused. That's the same as Vespa interrupted. Vespa hugged. You know? So I edited myself on site, and it ended up, I'm not saying that it's necessarily better. It's a little weird, this one, but you know, just this is going to be ever present in my writing from now on, 100%, so that the confusion was clearly present in Rhenàidd's voice. Because of course it's true, variance is good, and you know, it's all about learning and keep developing skills. Let's just have that as a potential short form video. So that's 0, 1, 16. The plottery. Plottery advice. She interrupted. Dot dot dot. Isilrun says, a side note on writing process tactics, Tim Schafer, the head of Double Fine, has an interesting way of brainstorming. He has a huge notebook and he free writes whatever comes to mind. Then... oh, the cliffhanger in a comment. Oh yeah, Miri says ink number 20. Dang, I missed a lot of new ink hype. Oh, you did. You know, you had stuff to do. So I'm just happy that you're here now, Miri. Easy Lauren continues, all of a sudden an idea pops into his head, then he writes it down, marks the section in the margin, and then he continues rewriting. So he has like, he's writing something, and then he gets another idea, and he just adds that right then and there, and then denotes that this is a different idea. That is interesting. I do a little bit, it's not the same, but so if I go here, when I name things, for example, characters. Okay, Vespa was actually really bad. Let's go here, I think, yes. Bad example. Rhenàidd and Dair are much better examples. So I write every idea for name that comes to mind. So he writes just his daydreams in that moment. Yeah, that sounds like chaos. And it's funny because then you have people like Stephen King who is actively working against notebooks and says that is the death of creativity. It's still funny how different people work. But yeah, as I was saying, when I name stuff, I write down every single name that I can think of. It's actually also a pretty bad example. Yeah, the valley here, for example. The valley where it takes place. And it doesn't matter if they're good or bad names. I'll think of something. I think for me, it's very much about getting the bad stuff out of my head as well. So by writing them down, you know, I can move on to hopefully a better name. And then I take a look at the list. Yeah, the Black River Keep is pretty... Spend a lot of time on that. On different names for it. It's one of the advice that I really like from Brandon Sanderson, and that he sort of keeps harping on about, is the do different things. Because unless you do different things, you don't know what works, what will work, and what won't work for you. Miri says, I have a lot of notes, a lot of things that get scrapped. I have a ton of notes as well. And yeah, I try not to think of them as scrapped though. I have a bunch of ideas. Like sometimes I just, as I'm doing dishes or whatever, menial task, right? I come up with an idea, or when I get inspired by reading or watching something, and I have this idea template in my in my Google Docs. I'm not gonna show you because they're my ideas. But I always make sure to write them down, even if the description is vague. And then I have them, there, so I know I won't forget them, and I can maybe pick them up and do something interesting with that later. I know I don't remember what they are, but I know that there are ideas that I didn't think would be for this story, and then I ended up pulling them out of the vault, my idea vault, and using them. So that way they serve their purpose. Yeah, they're still around, but scrapped. In the sense of not the current story. I move it to a different place. Yeah, okay, exactly. That was sort of what I was getting at as well. I don't think, but then I might have a little bit of a hoarder mentality. I don't think ideas and such are something you should throw away. Sure, you can move on to something else, but there was always a chance of going back and picking out old ideas and see if you can use them later. A vault is a great way to put it. Yeah, I guess so, yeah. Thank you. The Forgotten Vault even sounds very fantasy-like. Yeah, my own Silmarillion. Yeah, exactly. Or Miri's own Silmarillion. I'll just need some descendants who will decipher it and make a book when I'm gone. Hopefully, I won't be gone for a long time though. But yeah, as I was saying, for example, this sentence could have been the feeling reassured that everything was going to be okay, that help was near. A smile grew on Vespa's face. I mean, that's just just to add some variety to the prose, right? Let's note that. Grew. I'm so interested. Sorry. I'm so interested in seeing once I start digitizing things, like, do I even know what my own comments were referring to? Because I'm definitely a type that goes like, oh yeah, this makes total sense, I don't need to over explain this, and then I make a comment where when I then revisit things, I'm just sitting there going like, what past me? What did you mean? I have had comments in short story drafts that were just emojis, and I could not for the life of me figure out what I had meant. But I know that when I made the emoji, I was like, this makes so much sense, and it's a little bit funny. Yeah, you live and you learn, right? I've learned my little comments are way too vague. Yeah, it's the same problem. But you just don't have the time to make descriptive comments, right? Isilorian says, I'm a programmer by trade. I write a lot of code and make comments everywhere. Later on, I won't remember what that comment means. It's good to have you guys in the chat. We're all in the same boat. It's good to feel heard, you know. It's something I need. And I know that I'm not alone in this world of comments, of terrible comments. Yeah, exactly, Miri. In the moment, it makes full sense. Like, there's no way this could not be understood or misinterpreted or something. She didn't even register. Oh, did I just paint my cheek? Bumping into another tomb. Instead, sitting down on her knees. Sitting down on her knees. As if sure that it was indeed Rhenàidd. This code makes complete sense. 1 week later, who wrote this? It was me. Oh, it was dastardly past me. The scoundrel. Yeah, I feel that about my writing. Seriously. Some of the days when I read that 1 or 2 pages before I start writing to get in the flow again. Just, how did I ever? I know I've discussed it before, I talked about it before, but I especially find it so weird when I'm live streaming, for example, because I say everything out loud that I want to write, and then I just skip words entirely. And I don't notice it until I reread it, or I read it the day after. It's just like, I know I said this word out loud. Why is it not on the paper? Must be ghosts. Ghosts with erasers. Ink erasers. Is she still with us? Is she? Vespa noted with a sniffle. Lemon let out. A gentle whistle. As if aware what the spirit asked. What? Vespa was barely able to hear it though. Fear striking through her newfound optimism. Isiran says the benefit of writing code is that it won't work if it's written incorrectly, but code can still be wrong in so many other ways. Yeah. That's true. Miri says, hey, I miss words and I can't blame anything but my own stupid. It's good to know that I'm not the only one. Yeah, that's the beauty and what is so annoying about writing code. I have a little bit of programming experience, not a lot. It was not me. But just the fact that you know that the program is doing exactly what you're asking it to, but it's not what you want it to, because you messed up something in the code somewhere, or it doesn't work at all. That is so frustrating. But I guess that's the good thing about writing stuff by hand. It's only one way forward, as I've said multiple times. I see. You should say I see first. How much? No. Much. How much is she bleeding? The voice from everywhere and nowhere at once. Voice from everywhere and nowhere at once, and nowhere at once. Was concerned but firm. Was concerned but not firm, not stern. Serious. Yeah, maybe serious is actually pretty good. Let's just put serious. Oh, Etheron says the paper won't catch on fire if you write gibberish, but people's minds might when they read it. That's true. That is true. Yeah. But then again, if I write something that is really, really good, fingers crossed, it might catch on fire as well, you know? Blowing their minds and leaving no survivors. It'll be the most dangerous book ever written. It's like Monty Python's the most dangerous joke. This was not the first time. He found himself in this type of situation. Again with the she. Vespa thought. Before shaking her head. Tending to what actually mattered. Tending to what actually mattered. There was still absolute darkness. Absolute darkness in the catacombs. So Vespa had to use her other senses. Her other senses. Mirias, could you theoretically set the computer on fire from code? Parts might get damaged if overheated when the computer does too much work with too little cooling. Yeah, you can definitely I think it might be more prevalent on phones, also because their case is usually not as well cooled. There's a lot of fail safes that start the computer off if something goes wrong. It's good to know. I know Samsung has had a lot of trouble with, in the past, their phones actually catching on fire, but that was more because of the battery and it not being, the battery not being like tested properly. There was the exploding Samsung phone meme 10 years ago, because I'm that old. And I think also like one of the new flip phones, maybe it wasn't Samsung though, or fold phones. There's a YouTuber called Jerry Rigs Everything, where he destroys phones to test their limits. And he was testing this foldable phone, book fold. And as he was doing that, the battery started catching on fire. That looks wild. You should go watch that video if you ever want to see something quite funny and dangerous. He's safe, so it's okay to laugh at it. She gently placed lemon on his back. In her gauntlet. Using her other hand to feel his chest. Ever so slightly. I think ever so slightly has, without me noticing it, become a crutch of mine. I feel like I use that a lot. A lot. Is it a crutch? Lauren says there was one virus a long time ago that could break old spinning metal hard drives by moving the reading head outside of its operating range, breaking it. I don't remember the details. What? So the virus would give like the disk a command to just swing too much. That's weird, strange. Some of the early computer viruses were fun. Like what I only think they were fun because of course it didn't happen to me. At least not hardware breaking ones. But some of the stuff that people came up with just to annoy others were fun and weird. There was a lot of blood. Lemons, feathers, were soaked even on his wings. On his wings a bit. Sounds a bit weird. Some of it was probably from Vespa's hand, though. Having held him closely. Ever since they tried to escape, The deep dungeons. Shake began to emerge in Vespa's throbbing hand. Still throbbing. She cautiously moved it, moved her fingers across Lemon's chest, small chest. And a she gasped. She gasped as she realized how large the wounds Vespa, Rhenàidd, voice was direct and it was direct and something. It's serious still. Well, this might be a weirdly short chapter because I feel like I'm so close to ending it already. And I'm a little bit worried that I'm in a territory of, am I just stalling with words instead of getting straight to the point? But oh well. Because I sort of want... I want the next live stream... So I'm not gonna stream Sunday, but Monday next week. I want that to be chapter 18. Or at least beginning of that chapter. because I'm very excited for it. I want it to be its own, at least one live stream on its own. And you know, still got an hour left of this live stream, so I don't know, maybe I am stalling a little bit. It's fine. It's fine. It's also good if talking of stalling, if there are short chapters now, because I realized that if I'm to finish the story in this book, the rest of the chapters have like 9.5 page budget. And then I have to buy a fourth of these notebooks, which I'll do if needed, but I just sort of hoped I could keep it in 3. But we will see, of course. We will see. Yes. There's a lot of blood. Another gentle whistle. Gentle whistle. Lemon with an N. Wheezed. Wheezed. From lemon. This one even lower than before. That was not good. He didn't even seem to care. To care that Vespa touched his gaping chest. Is that too harsh? Oh. Too harsh. Isilron says, you can take my earlier statement with a grain of salt. While some hard drives could fail due to the reading the head getting misaligned, I don't know for sure if a virus was able to do it on purpose. Okay. You don't want to spread misinformation. That is a great stance to have. Thank you for saying that. It was a good story though, if it was true, but yeah. It would have been quite wild if you could send a command that would make the reading head just pop out of. It's partially true. Okay, yeah. I think misaligned is probably also a better word to use in that context than straight up just breaking. It makes a bit more sense. Right. I see. We must move fast then. The tone in which... Well, there you have it. It is the end of page 233, and we move on to page 234. New page hype. Whoop whoop. 234. And there we have it. Just blow on it a little bit. Tone in which the spirit spoke, picked up its pace. Spirit. I don't know if tone makes sense then. Picked up its pace. Tone. Another great comment by me. Pick up its pace and first, I need you to ready your branch. Actually, to ready the patient. Need you to ready the patient. So that you have easy access, that you have easy access. Room. A quick sniffle, and Vespa was ready to follow what Rhenàidd would ask of her. Rhenàidd would ask of her. Already done. She replied. like there's another reply. She responded. Reposted. Returned. Could be alright. Instead of using replies, rebutted. That's not it. Quote, relate. Okay. Let's go with she responded. In the same serious manner. I see. Good. Actually, I'm just gonna be right back. It's been a long time since we had that, but I've been drinking a lot of water today because of my run. So I'll be right back. Bathroom break. And remembering to turn on microphone. Don't want that embarrassing thing to happen again. Okay, let's go. And do you have your branch at the ready? I need to practice that actual R, cursive R. He actually always says good, that is good. Vespa felt as if she had been struck by lightning. Unable to move. Not even her lips to speak. She just sat there. Stunned in the darkness. In the cold, damp darkness. Isidore says, one of my favorite shorts of yours is the one about the school assignment. I also have a similar experience of writing a story in school, and the teacher liked me. I still remember that story well. Ah, thank you. Thank you so much for going through some of my older stuff, my other stuff. Yeah, that's I think about that story a lot. Because like, as I mentioned in that short, it's like this. I very clearly remember writing it and how good it felt to be writing it. Even though it was basically just Legend of Zelda: A Link to the Past in very short form. But it was like in 4th or 5th grade or something. And then just looking back at it now, I'm just like, as I mentioned in that short, what was I doing? Why didn't I pursue that? Now that I found it, it took me 10 years to actually begin writing again when I've started my this idea that I wanted to have a fantasy universe. That was in 2014. And then it took me 10 years from that point to begin writing, even though I loved it. I always loved the school assignments when it was free-form writing. I don't know. I kind of feel like I've missed a lot of years and what could have been, but there's really no reason to dwell on that, right? It's just a little sad, to be honest. And all because I wasn't very good at grammar. Oh my god, it's so dumb. But yeah, I have thought of digging that whole story up and then maybe make a video about it where I read it. I'm a little bit afraid though that my parents accidentally threw it away. Yeah, whatever. I'll have to dig for it, definitely. She knew that this would come up. But her hope was still that Rhenàidd would have some way, some other way of helping. No, it took a while. It took a moment or two. It took what felt like forever. It took what felt like forever. That's better. That's pretty good, I think. Those words to find their way across her lips. No. Easy Lauren says, my own story had some elements from the Swedish film Den Osynlige. It was mostly original though. Den Osynlige means the invisible. There was a US version made. The film's not very good. Based on an actual book though. Nice. You know what? It's all about getting inspiration from everywhere and taking that, making it your own. I feel like there's very little actual innovation in a lot of stories. Like Brandon Sanderson mentions in lecture number 2 that I'm editing right now, my highlights. He talks about that is okay, and no one is blaming Hamlet for being a story people had heard before. No one is blaming Dune for being Hamlet, and no one is blaming Lion King for being Dune for being Hamlet. Because they're pretty much the same in the setup. And that's so funny to think about. I didn't actually realize that Dune, like he also said, you probably didn't realize that Dune was the Hamlet. I had heard though that Lion King was Hamlet, which makes sense. But also, I think that's so amazing and fascinating, watching or reading something, and suddenly an idea just pops into your head. I love it when that happens. Like you find something cool in this particular movie, book, whatever, theater show, play. And then you think, oh, I can do something with that. I love it when that happens. I don't have a branch with me. see. Rhenàidd did not spend a long time. Did not spend a long time mulling over that. Over it. Well, it doesn't have to. It doesn't have to be a branch. It can be some fruit. It can be leaves and flowers. It can be leaves or flowers or anything nope, or anything as long as it is fresh. Vespa's heart dropped to her stomach. The slow realization of what Rhenàidd was saying hurting more than all of the pains her body had endured so far. Her body had endured so far. One second, I just got a text about something that needs to be answered. Here. got that taken care of. Sorry about that. We have like half an hour left, and we just finished page number 2. So that's good. It's good. I have a feeling that I'm probably not gonna get the same kind of sprint as I did last time on Monday. That was a wild sprint towards the end. That was like a page in half an hour. Never done that before. That was crazy. No, I don't have anything she finally admitted. Silence. Only the howls from somewhere along the catacomb ceilings. Catacombs ceiling and the stream below. Were present. I don't know. Isiloron says, I was thinking, here I am breaking up your writing flow and I'm the only person. Imagine when you have more followers. I apologize a lot when I get him talking. No, I've said it so many times. You don't apologize for chatting. I am just honored that you guys want to chat and are interested and give your view on things and have anecdotes and share your stuff. Keep doing it. There's absolutely no reason to apologize for that. It's very cute though, but don't, please. I want you guys to chat. And yeah, you know, sometimes I break up the flow, whatever, it's fine. It's also, this whole thing about live streaming is also to, you know, to chat with you guys. Because I could just be writing for my own. And by the way, when I write for my own, I found out that I actually spend, like, my pace is definitely higher when I'm live streaming than when I'm sitting on my own. I spend a lot of time looking out the window, and I might be thinking a little bit more about the sentences that I write. So, you know, I would much rather have you guys chatting than staring out the window. See, I distract you. And it's fine. I want you to distract me. It's good. And I mean, it's not like I haven't written anything today. Sure, I'm a little behind pace, but it's a-okay. It is also a more of a delicate chapter. Though I am definitely not going to finish it today, I think, which is all right. And the stream below. I was about to write sounded, but the culture in chat will be like, shut the fuck up, let him cook. No, that will never happen. I won't allow that to happen. Also, you're assuming that we get a whole ton of new followers. I can see it. Oh, that's very, very sweet of you. That is very sweet of you. Thank you. Lemon Weast. Vespa. All rush and it's not panic. I talk a lot less. Miri, you should not be talking less or chatting less. Please, I beg you. Russian. That's not how you spell panic at all. Alarm. It's actually not bad. A little bit of a funny word, but I kind of like it. All Russian alarm. Removed from the spirit's voice. Instead, it was now one of concern. With a distinct feeling. Distinct feeling that feeling of him trying to somehow this is a weird sentence. place a comforting arm. Around her shoulders. Vespa wasn't sure if that made any sense, but that was the feeling she got. Let's lampshade it a bit. Wasn't sure that it made sense. Rhenàidd being trapped. Rhenàidd being trapped inside his warhammer. Warhammer and all. But that was nonetheless what she thought from his voice. Maybe it could be a good thing. Maybe this could actually be a good thing. Like to describe Rhenàidd's voice sometimes as it feeling like he was comforting her or something. It would feel like he was doing something physical, like he was actually there. Could this be a regular occurrence? That doesn't feel at all like a comment I could forget what meant. Isidore Laurent says, I talk a lot because I'm new and excited. It's a huge privilege to actually get an essence one-to-one conversation. A lot of my most pressing questions have been answered, and I might not be as active in the future. I'm glad that I have been able to show my appreciation being here today. You know what? Just the fact that you are here, even if you were lurking, that would have meant so much. But the fact that you're also chatting, it makes me so happy. So thank you. And if you stick around, I would be most honored. And drop in now and then. Vespa, I'm sorry. Oh, I'm sorry. The spirit continued. Solemnly. If you do not have anything. Anything possessing. Nature's flow. Then there is not much. There is not much we can do. Miri says, I like lurking and listening to you talk. Thank you. It's good to know that you are lurking sometimes when you're not in chat. Lemon. No. Tears started to stream. Down Vespa's cheeks. Some dropping into her hands. And on to Lemon. Who lay almost unmoving. There has to be something. We can do. Please. It was difficult. To say anything through her crying. I'm afraid not. Rhenàidd answered. Keeping his tone. Keeping his comfort. Comforting tone. So is the way of the great cycle. So is the way of the great cycle. As much as it pains us. It is so it must be. It must be. Vespa shaking hand. Shaking fingers. Traveled across Lemon's chest again. Tiny chest. There was no reaction from the little bird. There was no reaction at all. From the little bird. Little yellow. There has to be something. Vespa heaved. As she... That was the end of page 234. Page 235. Hype. Whoop, whoop. Even though It is quite terrible what I write at this moment, but we knew it was going to happen because we've outlined it. As she this red this E. Damn it. Oh, I absolutely love when the first word on a new page is something I have to delete. Yes, well done, me. Hey, Ossel is in the chat. YouTube recommendation pulled just as I finished with some writing myself. Well, it's very good to have you here in the chat, Ossel. Though I am afraid you're a little bit late. I am ending the stream in a little bit, sadly. But I hope you will stay these last 10-ish minutes. So what are you writing yourself? Savor these 8 minutes. Yeah, exactly. Desperate. Desperately. Tempted. Come up with an idea that could work. What if we She snorted, trying to finish a sentence. I savor every second here. Oh, Mimi, you're too nice. You're too sweet. Thank you. I'm afraid not. Vespa. Oh my god, cannot is with 2. We can... Are you serious? 2 ends! There we go. First try. We cannot do anything. Than to give her peace. I am terribly sorry. That sounded very sarcastic when I said that out loud. Terribly. Nope. He was right, correct the first time. Truly. Hey, Ossel says, it's fine, I watched your Sanderson video. I'm doing some historical fiction, kind of. Still newbie at writing, but I'm kind of emulating for now Sanderson's style of writing before I can develop a style of my own. Finishing a sentence while writing about finishing sentences. Isilrun. Hey, thanks. Well, thanks for joining from the Sanderson video. Isilrun did as well. It's awesome that you guys saw it. And yeah, you know, it's so good to hear that you're writing on your own. Who cares if you're a newbie? It's about doing it. And you will get better the more you do it. Sounds cool. Historical fiction. Sounds nice. The last historical fiction I read was Pillars of the Earth. That was very, very good. Oh, actually, I wanted the... It was like around 255. Can't spell. Cannot. Just write as they say, exactly. And that's so difficult when you're starting out. Even though it sounds so simple. No. No. Vespa had still to come up with anything. Why was she always so powerless? Powerless, powerful, powerless when things mattered. If only a fire was here. It was the same wish you always had, was the same wish she always had. But even if she would come to the rescue again, she would come to the rescue again. Right now, she would probably still be too late. Probably still be too late. No. Lemon, please. I need you. You're my best friend. I'm not crying, you're crying. Is it okay to cry over your own writing? Oh, you guys have written a couple of things in the chat. I played the point and click adventure game based on Pillars of the Earth. That was very good too. I haven't read the book though, so can't compare. I watched the Pillars of Eternity miniseries. Here the books are good, yeah. Oh yeah, The Name of the Rose is a good medieval themed story. I've always been into antiquity and I read a lot of history, so my story is set in the 1st century AD. Cool. The Name of the Rose, that was also, I think that was the first time where I like feel it's okay to cry. Thank you. I'm gonna end the live stream before I cry. Don't worry. No. The Name of the Rose. That's the. If I'm remembering correctly, that is the medieval, like crime, murder mystery, with Sean Connery, right? And that was like the first time I. Yeah, Sherlock Holmes, if he was a monk, exactly. I think it was the first time I sort of realized that, you know, you can have different genres take place in different settings. It was quite the mind-blown moment. I like that. It was pretty good. You're my only friend. Please don't go where I can't follow. No, Sam. Please don't. I need you here. Here. You know what? We're so close to 3 pages. It's like 4 lines more. History's first detective story is King Oedipus. Oedipus, by the way, for real. Is it? That is interesting. I know the story, but not for its detective-ness. There are other themes in that story that I feel is more well known, shall we say. Vespa. Ozil says, yeah, Oedipus has to do detecting in who did the murder of the old king. Oh, right. Huh. That is interesting. Vespa, she didn't remember. Vespa had trouble. Keeping even. One thought in her mind. That's a bad sentence. That would make some sense. Or at least could help her. At least could help her. It was all a blur. It was all a blur. Of tears. Sniffling. And a pain so deep in his stomach. So deep in her. That it felt as if her heart, as if her heart was trying to burst through it. Turns out it's him, Mosel said. Spoilers. That spoiler guarantee expired 100 years ago. Yeah, probably. I think there's a statute of limitation on that one. I wonder if the ancient Greeks cared about spoilers. Isiloran says, if the mythos gave any indication, they just made up stories all the time and couldn't even keep track of it all, like superhero comic books. Zeus was kind of a superhero, if his superhero ability was sleeping with random women as different things. You know, besides all the lightning and stuff. She put her her hand still throbbing from the knife's cut, throbbing from the knife's as gently as she could, as gently as she could. Onto lemon chest. At least he would know. And I think actually I'm going to end right there. Yep, I think that was 3 pages exactly. And as always, oops, we are ending. It's a little bit of a hack that I have for myself. If I end my writing session in the middle of a word, I have an easier time. I have an easier time getting started next time, because I just have to finish that word, and then we're off. It's a little bit of a hack for you guys if you want. Classic Zeus. Good times. I got to go to sleep as well. Well, it all worked out, didn't it? So let's just have the master sort of counting, just to make sure it is indeed 3 pages. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25. And then we have 2 full pages here. Don't want to count that. 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39. That's 3 pages, 1 line, and then we're not counting that one. All right, 3 pages and 1 line. So we go in here, we take the formula from last time. We say 3 pages and 1 line. Oops, not 11 lines. And that's 1,000 words, 1,104 words, which brings a total up to 87,035 words. Let's go! Woo! And if we just like this, extend those, then we know where we need to update our stuff. So the progress is now 87,035. And that means our progress bar, you need to move. You need to move to 29. Minus 329. And just like you, we move. It's all very manual. In case you haven't noticed. I mean, it's all part of the charm, right? There we have it. That should be the update for the day. Osel says, I keep that tip in mind from writing. I'm at 33k words myself. Awesome, dude. Well done. Keep going at it. I hope you'll drop by from time to time and let me know how it's going. Update. That is always awesome when you guys share updates. Great work. Thank you, Isidron. Thank you so much for dropping by. And that goes to all of you, even if you're lurking or not, or even if you're watching the VOD afterwards. It ended up being a pretty good day. Little low pace, but it's fine. Not by a lot. We've made 3 pages anyway. I'm going to finish this chapter in the background and then on my own, and then Monday we will start with chapter 18 that I am probably the most excited about. One of them at least. We're going into death, the realms of death. Okay, with that little teaser, I guess you could say, just want to end by saying thank you guys so much for watching. Please remember to like the stream if you haven't already, and subscribe to me. That means a whole bunch. And also remember that we write our own stories. Alright, I'll see you Monday hopefully. Bye!